Um, so back in the middle of July of 1983, I just got home from school, and all of a sudden, I wasn't home for more than half an hour when all of a sudden I was taken out of my body, I was taken to heaven. I had this out of the body experience. This was not a near death experience. I was not anywhere near death. I was not unconscious in any way, shape, or form. I was totally wide awake, totally aware. I was not knocked over the head. I was not dreaming. I was not on any hallucinogens. I was completely conscious through the whole ordeal, just like I am now. And I was taken to heaven, and I was given a tour of heaven by the man himself. It wasn't what you might call an angel or what Christians might call Jesus. Personally, I'm a Christian myself. But I was given a tour of heaven by the man himself, and he made it overwhelmingly, abundantly clear as to who he was. You know, the Bible talks about that God is not a man that he would lie. And he was standing right behind me. I would say he was around maybe 6'2", 6'4". He had his right hand on my right shoulder. And I'll paraphrase what he said later on. I'll tell you specifically. Right now I'm trying to keep these videos short and sweet. But he said, in a sense, Dave, I've got some things to show you, so let's get going. And so he proceeded to give me a tour of heaven. And when it was all over and he was done with me, he put me back into my body. From that day forward, again, that was in the middle of July of 1983, and from to that point forward until December 28th, 2014, I only told 4 people what I'm now telling the whole YouTube community or anybody who might happen upon this my channel in this video. But now you might say, well, what's the significance of saying you only told 4 people? Well, there's really no significance. It is what it is. Somebody might say, well, why did you go around blabbing and tell 4 people? Why couldn't you keep your mouth shut and just keep it to yourself? Okay, and somebody else might say, well, why didn't you go ahead and just tell the world? Why did you hold it in? Well, from my perspective, perceiving myself as being religious, I don't like to be perceived as being religious because I'm not religious. As you can see in my channel here, I go by the name of Electronic Wizard. I'm very proud of my degree that I got. I'm proud of my history of being in electronics. I have a passion for electronics. I have a passion for modern technology. So that's why I only told 4 people, or I told a whole bunch of people that somebody might call that's a lot of people. But it was 4 people during that whole entire time. So do the math. From the middle of July 1983 until December 28, 2014, and most of that time I've spent not even contemplating or thinking about this experience. But I guess as you get older, something like that sort of looms forward. It looms bigger and it becomes more prominent in your mindset and your thinking and your reality. And so I had this experience, and now I'm sort of, in a sense, letting the cat out of the bag. I'm kind of putting it out there. And over the last few years, every time I think about it, I always glean something new. I always sort of extract some type of new insight when I ponder what happened to me. And one of the things that happened, or one of the things that I've sort of realized in contemplating what this experience was, and this is not going to sit well with some people, but it is entirely theoretically possible. And I stress the word theoretically. It's theoretically possible for a person to die and go to heaven and spend eternity in heaven and never run across another human being as long as you're up there. Now, that's not to say that you'll be lonely. From my experience, everybody is assigned a certain number of angels. I've already was told that I've already seen the 5 angels that are assigned to me. And I've already been assigned, and these they'll stay with you throughout eternity. They're like you're like a gang. You're gang banging. They're your partners in crime, if you will. And these people, these entities, these angelic beings have a certain limited abilities as to what they can do. But one thing they're experts at, and that is constantly in tune and aware of what the man upstairs is doing. And so they're constantly relating or imparting information. The word angel, by the way, means a messenger anyway. So they're constantly telling you what's happening. It would be like if you were in a remote part of the world and you were carrying around a radio and you would turn it on to see, try to get a feel for what's going on in the world. Listen to the news, for example. That's kind of like what it's like in a crude manner of speaking. Now, by the way, I can't imagine anybody wanting that kind of heaven. Personally, I can't imagine it. But like I said, it's theoretically possible to spend eternity in heaven and never run across another human being as long as you're up there. Now, that's not my heaven, but it is possible. It's kind of strange. Okay. And so that's one thing. The other thing that I've sort of gleaned from contemplating what this experience that happened to me these many years is that if you want to teach somebody something, impart some information to somebody, by far the best way to do it is through images. If you had met me the day after I had this experience and I told you what happened to me, it wouldn't be any different than if I were to tell you now. I'm not adverse to telling anybody. That's not my problem. I don't mind telling anybody. If somebody wants to hear what happened to me, fine. I'll tell you. I have no problem with that. But my problem is being perceived as being religious. I love modern technology. I love electronics. I go by the name Electronic Wizard. I'm proud of this whole thing. I want to put out more content, but I've been so busy doing other things. The content that you see on my YouTube channel it's a drop in the vast ocean of what I could put up there if I really was interested. But I'm more or less now I'm sort of turning a slight corner just a little bit here by putting out content like this, because I've been on YouTube since 2005. If it's given me a lot, then I want to give back a little bit. And so what do you give back I don't know of anything more profound than this. This is just something that happened to me personally. And so perhaps somebody in the future who might listen to this video might gain some insight or gain a little bit of inspiration. And so what I'm claiming is that this guy right here, okay, you see that? This guy right here, I'm claiming that I met him. I met him. And he was, like I say, he made it overwhelming, even though he did not actually let me see his face. He was standing right here. He had his right hand on my right shoulder, and he said parenthetically, again, I don't want to belabor the point, but he said, Dave, I've got some things to show you. Let's get going. And he proceeded to give me a tour of heaven. And if there's any lingering effect that's had on me, it certainly got my attention, and I sort of diverted my attention from electronics and engineering and the sciences, to I got heavily involved in particular this book right here, the Book of Genesis. I spent many, many, many years in the Book of Genesis and read a lot of commentaries on the Book of Genesis. And I can tell you, what you'll find is a far cry from what you will hear in many churches or if you will, these Christian television network programs. They're just not giving it to you. And somebody else is not giving it to you, and somebody else is keeping things from the world is the media. And something else about the media that's rather sad is that a significant number of people in the media today that bring the American people, and for that matter the world, information, news, and analysis on a daily basis are all members of an occult. A significant number of them are members of an occult called Catholicism. And one of the telltale signs of an occult is to give you a little bit, to hold you, and to keep your interest and to keep you chained, in a crude manner of speaking, and then turn around and keep the rest from you. That would essentially free you up. See, so these people that are members of this an occult, now you can be a Christian and be a member of an occult, but you can't be an occult and call yourself a Christian organization. I see this as the big 800-pound gorilla in the room. Nobody wants to talk about this because it's hard to talk about something that you have no knowledge of. I would encourage anybody, get the book, The Twin Babylons, for example. There are several of these books. My favorite is The Twin Babylons by Alexander Hislop. You won't put that book down. I guarantee you, you will not put that book down until you've read it at least twice. It's a fascinating book. And you'll get all kinds of insights, and you'll learn all about Catholicism. Let me just give you one example off the top of my head. In the New Testament, Jesus said that you were to call no man upon this earth your father, for you have only one Father, and that's this guy right here. Okay? You have only one, according to Jesus, if he's any authority in your life. Call no man upon this earth your father, for you have only one Father. Well, the very word Pope, the leader of the Catholic Church, Pope means Papa, Father. Okay? So if that's all you know about Catholicism, then that should raise at least enough red flags to get anybody thinking. A significant number of people that bring the American people, and for that matter, the world, information, news, and analysis, are members of this occult. And so they're trapped. And if you'll notice, if you watch the news on a daily basis, as I do, you'll notice have you noticed how sort of tunnel vision they are? In one sense, tunnel vision is not such a bad thing. Okay? It's not so bad being tunnel vision, being single-minded like that. After all, the Bible says, broad is the path that leads to destruction, narrow is that path that leadeth to righteousness. So on the one hand, yeah, that's a good trait, but they're so narrowly focused on just minor points. It's just it has a negative effect. So you have to be ever mindful of the people in the media. So, like I said, I'm claiming that I met this guy. And by the way, he is a guy. I didn't detect not even 1 ounce of femininity in this guy. I didn't detect any feminine qualities whatsoever. Now, I'm not claiming to be a psychologist, and I'm not claiming to be, a man when you see a man, and a woman when you see a woman. I mean, it's not hard to tell. But I didn't detect 1 ounce of any feminine quality in this guy right here. But I met him. And so, hey, stay tuned, because I got a lot more to say about this book in particular. But also, I plan on getting back into some electronics, because I've got tons of stuff. I mean, this is, I put together products, and this right here happens to be a milliometer. Okay. This is an Arduino Nano, and this is, various constant current source, blah, blah, blah. This is a very good program, by the way. It's called AutoTrax DeX, and here's the PCB board, and the 3D is, this is the 3D, and so I'm Electronic Wizard, and that's my story, and the cat's now out of the bag, and I'll see you in the next video. And he's coming for you. Yes, he's gonna shoot you down. He's on your left, he's on your right. Better look around. Will he shoot you from behind, or bring you light? See Gabriel at the gate, and Michael at his right. They say he's coming for you.